Inshallah, this delay. Wonder.
Welcome back, Geshe.
Okay, David, shall I begin or?
Yes, please. We're right on time, so please go ahead.
Okay. Welcome back. So continuing from where we left the first session, what we said is that our mind, this is a little technical for those of us who are beginners. It may sound a little technical, and for those of us who are already into the study of Buddhist philosophy for the last 7 years, for you, this is quite the common, I would say. The idea is that the true nature of your mind, is that except for the so the true nature of mind is extremely expansive. So it is like the light. If you make the light to behave in its own way, then we see that it simply spreads, it simply pervades in all directions. And when we feel, for example, when you are with somebody who is a difficult person, what is your reaction? We feel a little bit of suffocation. We feel the barrier there. So this is where your mind could not behave in its true nature. This is suffocation. Whereas the moment you see in place of this person, the difficult person is replaced by somebody who you love so much, instantly your mind eases. Okay, how many of you agree with me, resents? Yes. So just imagine that if you could feel the same feeling of affection towards that you feel towards your mother, your children, your parents, husband, wife, and so forth, you feel the same feeling of affection towards all the beings. The ease will be multiplied by infinity. This is a basic principle. So another question is, how can we make this mind flow towards all the beings infinitely? This is the next question. And if possible, we also need to relate so this mechanism by which to make the mind flow towards the infinity, where you feel the infinite ease, with the getting rid of the misconception pertaining to the appearance. So how do you relate the two? This I'm not going to touch. We have just 4 sessions. That part on the bringing about cognitive transformation of your mind. Cognitive transformation. Within that, there are 2 elements. The transformation of your apprehension of the reality by getting rid of the misconception pertaining to apprehension of the reality, and the bringing transformation in your appearance of the reality by getting rid of the misconception of things appearing as objective real. So that part, we need enormous amount of materials to cover on emptiness. Since at this topic, we have just 4 sessions. So we cannot touch this area, but that we can. It is like, for example, say the pilots. And the pilots, what they do is that, of course, you as just a trainee, you can really take up the airplane and fly. It can just crash. So whereas there's a simulation practice where you could feel that you are in the air And actually, not you are not in the air, but it creates this the feeling that you are in the air, and then you are the piloting the airplane. So this is the simulation practice. Likewise, your mind, how to make it flow, in its fullest form. For that we need simulation practice. And this simulation practice, yet we can make it flow, but then to make it perfectly flow well, it must be accompanied by the cognitive transformation, which is the wisdom to see the reality as very different from how they appear to us, and how you believe the reality to be like. So this misperception which we create in terms of appearance, in terms of the apprehension of the reality, that is one which blocks our mind from behaving in its true nature. There's no external factor to block you, but it's your own mental prison. The mind creates its own prison, and it blocks our mind from behaving in its true nature. So the point is that what we call as a simulation practice, where your mind flows, where you may not necessarily be able to get rid of the cognitive misperception. Still, we can let our mind flow. And what's the outcome? Outcome is magic. That when we feel, when you feel a difficult person, when you see that difficult person sitting next to you, even 5 minutes is like ages. Ages is so long. So the point is that because you feel the suffocation. Now, why you feel the suffocation? Why your mind doesn't flow? It is trapped in the prison of one's own mind. Why it is not flowing? It's because that you see that this person is difficult. What do you mean by difficult person? Where your mind doesn't feel the affection. Where you don't find the affection. Now, the point is that we come to experientially speaking, we come to acknowledge. We have to acknowledge that our mind will feel the total freedom. Total freedom. If your mind can flow freely towards all the beings without being restricted, without being stopped, without being blocked by any reasons like anger or the animosity or the difference, I'm superior, or this person is being unkind to me, for whatever reason that you they create, and that it creates a barrier. So that barrier creates a prison within you, and your mind feels restricted. It doesn't flow freely. Okay. So now the next point is that your mind, can it flow freely to all the beings? Answer is yes. If it does happen, then this is where you this a difficult person is replaced by somebody who's very loving. Instantly, your body feels the ease. For example, to give an example, a real life example, was that when the brothers, my 2 children, when they were very small, when they were aged like 7, 8, 9, 10, and they were in school for like nine months. And the 2 of them, of course, my sister was also there to take care of them. But for small children, there's no replacement for the parents. And of course, I cannot do anything. So for me, it was, I know that these 2 children in school, 9 months in school, and their mind simply yearns to meet the mother, meet the father. There was a thing. This was what I went through myself when I was little. I just craved to meet my father, although my mother passed away when I was just 5 years old. And I just craved in this world, finally, and the best of the example of affection for a small child is your parents, generally speaking. And so for these 2 children, they are no exception. They are same. So my mind constantly, I could feel the pain of these 2 children. How I wish that they meet with the parents. They meet with parents. And then closer towards the end of the year, like December 14, they have the school, long winter break. And the December 1st, December, 2nd December, I started to become happy. I feel so happy. Not that I'm going to meet them, that they're going to meet their parents. I feel so happy for them that, okay, now these two children, they can really feel that. So what's the difference? It's not that, the school is really bad. No, but the small children, because they feel the love from their parents, this is so perfect. It just flows so beautifully. So that is known as the ease. Now, just as like these, for these two children, when they meet with their parents at this young age, I don't know when they reach age 16, 17, 18, I don't know. But when they were young, yes, I know that they could not really just imagine without the parents. So their mind flows so freely when they meet their parents. I have my personal experience being in school for all these many months, and suddenly I see my father. The mind just eases. So with that experience, I could empathize with these two children, and just imagine that you are their small child, and the whole world is like your parents. Everywhere you feel this incredible flow of the love and affection. This is known as infinite happiness. And only if you have the experience, what is a suffocation, then you will appreciate this infinite happiness. What is a suffocation? If you don't know what it is say be with a nasty boss, or be with a nasty colleague, or be with somebody, right? Who's ever husband, wife, children, parents, whatever, complicated ones. Stay with this person for 5 minutes. You will see what's the definition of suffocation, where your mind constricts. It simply shrinks. This is suffocation. You can feel it. By the way, how many of you have this experience in your life? Presents at least one time in your lifetime. At least one time. Okay, all of us had that experience. So when you have these experiences, I would highly suggest, don't forget these experiences. They are so precious. These will teach us the value of the expansion of your heart, value of the free flow of your mind towards the infinite beings, value of compassion. Okay, no. So some of you may feel that what's the relationship in these two things? Me feeling suffocated by being in front of somebody else, and compassion. Compassion, why should I be compassionate towards others? Right? They will take care of themselves. I'll take care of myself. Okay, so the point is that the infinite ease. And the secret of the infinite ease is your unconditional compassion, right? And how? How is that the secret? Or how is that related to your infinite ease? Don't forget it, even the mother sees the child, mother sees the little child, small child, the mother's feeling of affection is extremely intense. The child's feeling towards the parents at this tender age is so intense. It freely flows towards the parents. Okay, this is so beautiful. Okay, now if you can imagine that in case, say that, let us just assume that we do some magic, whatever magic, that my mind suddenly starts to flow to every sentient being, right? But no, I can't really imagine that. Some of you may think like this, the nasty person is naughty person. How can my mind flow? Okay, I'll give an example. This is so important. These issues must be brought up. The one time, I was invited by a couple for a lunch, and I went there. The first thing that I saw was that their house, the big wall was with the pencil sketches, and the wall was so dirty. And instantly in my mind, okay, what is this? It's so messy, right? So I cannot say this. I was a guest there. I sat down nicely, and the lady came and then pointed to this dirty wall and said that these are the paintings of my two little girls. So look, say, even though the object is nothing really beautiful there, there's nothing attractive, no attraction, no beauty there. But when that is associated with love and affection, it turns so beautiful in your eyes. So even what we call as a nasty person, if you can build this affection towards that person, even these qualities of that person, what you call as nasty at the moment, even these qualities can turn out to be so beautiful. For example, say that I've seen that with my own eyes, how the mothers describe the children, small children. When the child is very passive, inactive, the mother would say, my child is so gentle and tender. And when the child is so naughty, mischievous, my child is so active. This is how the mother describes. In the eyes of the mother, every quality is seen as so beautiful, right? So the point is that it's all about this love and affection. But the question is, can we cultivate it? Can we cultivate it towards all the beings? This is a very serious question. And until we address this, no matter how much you speak, that they say you have to reach out to all the sentient beings with love and affection. But how? This question. So there's no point. No matter how much you speak of that, it doesn't bear any result in us if we don't know how to reach out to all the beings, how to let your mind flow freely towards all the beings. Okay. So it is for this reason that the Buddha Shakyamuni are taught that compassion towards all the beings, that is the main trunk of your the ultimate happiness, the main trunk of your ultimate happiness. This is the trunk which supports your ultimate happiness. This gives rise to the ultimate happiness. This is the point which the Buddha indicated. So the next question is, how can we cultivate this? How can we cultivate this? No matter what external factors are, your mind flows freely. Nobody can obstruct your mind from flowing freely towards all the beings. What do you mean by mind flowing free towards all the beings? This is the next question. It simply means your mind feels close towards the other beings. Your mind feeling close towards the other beings is known as affection. Affection. Attachment. Attachment. Attachment means your mind feels attached to the object. Your mind feels attached to the sentient beings. But attachment, keep in mind that it can have several connotations. One is in a negative connotation. A destructive affinity is known as attachment. And attachment means where your mind feels close to them, close to the beings. If you're not happy with the word attachment, it simply means the feeling of closeness. And that is the feeling of affection. So, how to build this affection? This question. For this, we see that the Buddha Shakyamuni taught two methods. And we should be convinced. After learning all these steps, we must be convinced. If you're not convinced, then no matter how appreciative you are, it not work. Finally, it's not about, let's say that okay, this is the painkiller, this is the painkiller, this painkiller. No. So this should be effective, that your pain is removed. If it doesn't serve to remove your pain, it is not a painkiller. So likewise, no matter how much you talk about, say the expanding your heart with all the beings, no matter how much you say, if you're not convinced how to do this, this is very complicated. Oftentimes I meet with people, and sometimes people, when they first come in contact with Buddhism, particularly with the Tibetan Buddhism, with the Bodhicitta, they are so fascinated. They will say, oh, all Tibetans are so divine. They are so good. We don't see any people like this in the world. I say that, don't go to that extent. Tibetan people are also people. They're human beings. They have the demerits. They have good sides, demerits. Both are there. Be very realistic. Be on the ground. Be on the ground. So you have seen His Holiness the Dalai Lama, but not all the Tibetans. You're getting it? All Tibetans are not like His Holiness. This is what I tell people. So we should not be too naive. We should not be too naive. If we begin like this, we will never reach this goal of infinite affection, infinite happiness. We'll never reach there. So we should be very realistic. We have to acknowledge what is good is God, bad is bad, the neutral is neutral. We acknowledge the reality. Only when you accept the reality on that basis, then say how to build your compassion. If you don't see the reality, if you see that, oh, everyone is so good, the only problem is myself, right? You go to extreme of the practice of compassion, extreme, which will not take you anywhere. I'm the one to be blamed for everything. Everyone is perfect. No, that's not true. Not everybody is perfect. Because everybody's beings are not perfect, so the Buddhas, they deliberately come to help the beings. If everybody is perfect, why should the Buddhas appear on the earth? And on the planet Earth today, why should the souls come if everybody is perfect? So let us be realistic. Let us not start from the air. We should be realistic. What's it realistic? Acknowledge good is good, bad is bad, neutral is neutral. This is how we should know the reality. You know that how you are imperfect, and what are you good? What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? What is the strength of the other person? What is the weakness of the other person? So like that, we have to know the reality. By seeing the reality, the bad is bad. That should not be the reason for you to become more unhappy. So seeing the bad is bad should be the reason for you to feel the compassion, feel your compassion to flow, feel the warmth to flow. You're getting it? How? This next question. So for this, first we have to acknowledge that the world is consisted of, let's say, the three kinds of people. Near and dear ones, the neutral beings, and the difficult people. We can't imagine anyone in this world who does not fall into one of these three categories. This is reality. So now our job is to, only if our affection flows towards all the three beings, only then we can expect that our mind can flow freely towards all the beings. For this, the Buddha taught two methods. The first method is known as the sevenfold cause-effect method. And the second one is known as the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others. Let me repeat it. So to let this mind flow freely towards all the three kinds of beings, near and dear ones, neutral beings, and difficult people, the Buddha taught two methods. In the first place, we have to acknowledge what is good, what is bad, what is neutral. And what are the weaknesses of the other person? What are the strengths of the other person? We have to know them so objectively. We're not exaggerate. If you keep exaggerating, you will never grow. You will never gain conviction. Conviction is what tallies with the reality. And if you don't see the reality, you will never gain a genuine conviction. So the Buddha taught two methods, with expecting that we acknowledge the reality as it is. Good is good, bad is bad, neutral is neutral. And strengths and weaknesses. We have to know all these things so well. Let's say the mother, the parents, that should know, they should not exaggerate the qualities of your children. Some parents, they are so unwise. They always praise their children. They're always in front of other people saying that my child is very good and child makes all the mistakes. You just keep defending. And projecting as though the child is a divine. But the reality is, this is how, when the child grows older, that child is overly pampered and the child is totally spoiled and the child gets nowhere. It is a mistake of the parents. Right from the beginning, the parents should know the strengths of the child and the weaknesses of the child. You have to acknowledge the weaknesses and the strengths, and justice for the parents, a compassionate parent, loving parents. The weakness of the child is not the reason for the parents to reject the child. Rather, the weaknesses of the child should be the reason for the parents to embrace the child even more strongly. For example, say the parents have two children, elder and younger. And let's say the younger one is extremely smart, extremely decent. And the elder one is not smart at all. Intellectually, IQ-wise, so low. And then the habit, mannerism, totally lacking. And in the school, nobody appreciates the elder, the child, and everybody loves the younger one. But The parents should know that. And the extremely sensible, loving parents, they know this so well. And on this basis, the parents will show special affection and care for the elder one, the weaker one. Weaker one, because the younger one, everybody takes care of. And the younger one knows how to take care of himself or herself. Where the elder one doesn't know how to take care of himself or herself, so the parents are there to defend the elder one even more. So, what I'm saying is that, when you learn these two methods, you will be in a position whereby seeing the weaknesses of the others will become the reason for you to embrace them with love and affection even more. How? This is the next question. So, the two methods. The first method is known as the sevenfold cause and effect method. And the second method is the method of equalizing the exchanges of others. And the 4-session teaching is to be dedicated for the second method of equalizing the exchanges of others. But I would highly suggest all of us to learn both and practice both for your own benefit. That, believe it or not, with your practice, you see that over time, you see that as your compassion grows, you become extremely grounded, more grounded person. Your, the agitation, unnecessary agitations towards others will slow down. And what we call as, okay, this nasty person, keep distance, tit for tat. This will change into compassion. This will change into sense of concern for others. This will change into transformation of the others. This is magic. Where you keep distance, you reject the other person, but with the practice of these two methods, you will not reject. You will embrace, and this embrace will make the other person transform. It's amazing. Who's otherwise very selfish person can become less selfish and will come to learn from you. So this is something which is so precious, and you, the first benefactor of this practice, will be yourself, where you feel more grounded, and then unnecessary agitations all will stop. And because of the agitation stops, say the intense agitation is known as anxietic. It can be anxietic. And the prolonged agitation or prolonged stress is depression. So you'll be freed from depression. You'll be freed from anxiety. That's amazing. And even the stress, physical stress can be there with your hard work. Say if you work for more than 8 hours a day, our body has a limit. Our body can really work more than 8 hours if you just stretch its limits or push its limits to 10 hours, 12. For some people work for 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours. This is not an advisable thing, because your body, although your mind can do it, your body cannot do it. Finally, your body is the medium. So the body may have stress, but your mind, with the practice of Bodhicitta, your mind will not feel stressful. For example, some people, they are so fascinated to see the extremely tight schedule of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And yet he's so fresh all the time, laughing, and just with a smile, giving smiles to everyone. And many people who have their own personal experience of what the stress is like, they don't see the stress in His Holiness. That's amazing. How come that His Holiness is able to do that? It's all because of this compassion, this universal compassion. We can also practice it. We can also cultivate it. There's a point. So the two methods, the first method, the sevenfold cause of a method, both the methods were originally taught by the Buddha himself. And the first method was actually inherited, or the heir of this practice, the heir to Buddha Shakyamuni pertain to this practice. The first method is the Arya Maitreya, the future Buddha, Arya Maitreya, and he passed down the teachings of this particular method to Arya Sangha, then to Arya Sangha's the brother Acharya Vasubandhu, and passed down to us till the Acharya Lama Adisha Dibangara Shri Gyana, actually from Lama Selimpa from Indonesia, then to Lama Adisha Dibangara Shri Gyana, and then he brought to Tibet. And then today We get all these teachings from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Then the next method, the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others. This is what, again, taught by Buddha Shakyamuni and inherited by Arya Manjushri, and passed down to Arya Nagarjuna. And then with the many teachers, the many masters in the lineage, and finally it came down to Bodhisattva Shantideva, whose text we're going to use likely tomorrow, chapter 8, second half of chapter 8 tomorrow, and Bodhisattva Shantideva. And from there again passed down. And then in the 11th century, Lama Selingpa in Indonesia, then Lama Adisha, who went to Indonesia to receive the corpus of teachings on Bodhicitta from Lama Selingpa. And the Lama Selingpa and Lama Adisha, two of them are revered as the point of confluence of the two traditions. The sevenfold method and the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others confluence the two traditions, and this is what we inherited today. So today we see that so in any tradition, in Tibetan Buddhism, like Sakya, Kaikyu, Nyingma, Gelug, any tradition you follow, you see that these two traditions are being practiced. Okay, so in the first place, the method of equalizing the exchange of self for others. Bodhisattva Shantideva very clearly indicated in his text, A Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, chapter 8, second half of chapter 8, that this teaching of the method to generate bodhicitta, the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others, this says to be maintained confidential. And why? Why to maintain confidential? Why the need to keep it confidential? Why? The reason is that this teaching or this method is very sophisticated, that the many people will not be in a position to digest the concept. And for them, it is like, for example, let's say that if somebody, you are being very honest, you are being very clean in your approach, and somebody say take advantage of you and abuse you, you will say that, okay, tit for tat. Or let's say that I'll sue you, right? And no, practice compassion. What compassion? You're getting it? So these people, they cannot really understand it. Even nowadays, it's very commonly, if you to practice compassion towards the difficult people, towards enemies, then many people think that this is too naive. Okay, so because then many people cannot understand, cannot digest that this teaching is possible. So they may feel averse. They may feel aversion to this teaching. So therefore, you practice it, and keep it confidential. Practice confidentially for yourself. It is nothing, nothing bad in it. Only things that is very profound, that many people cannot digest this teaching, and they may feel aversion to this teaching. And if you feel averse to this teaching, very precious teaching, in a way they accumulate so much negative karma. And this negative karma, the consequences are severe. So to protect these beings from accumulating negative karma due to disparaging, due to the potential disparagement happening towards this precious teaching, you are advised to keep this teaching confidential. Okay. But it doesn't mean that you never, speak about this to others. Say, first speak to other people about compassion, about your own happiness, well-being, mental, mental health, and so forth. And meanwhile, if the person shows interest in these, there are some very sophisticated practice. What is that practice like? If the person shows interest, you can just go deeper and deeper. And if the person continues to reciprocate to the sharing of the teaching, then you can teach open. There's no problem. But if somebody resists, if somebody is resistant to your this particular teaching, then keep it. Just no need to share. Just shares the first part, which is the sevenfold cause and effect method, which is more easily understandable for many others. Okay, so on this method of equalizing the exchange self for others. So there are 9 steps there. 9 steps. And in the first place, we need to remember these 9 steps. We need to have 9 steps on our fingertips. And then on a daily basis, try to practice this. And I would highly suggest that you practice methods. But if you say that, no, I don't have time for this, I will only practice the one method, not both, I'm fine, it's you to decide. But what I would suggest is that you can practice both, not necessarily both in one day. You can alternate between the 2 methods. Okay. And I personally do both within a single day. Okay. So what are the 9 steps? The first one, first I will enumerate the 9 steps, and then I'll explain these steps, and then tomorrow to fine-tune the explanation, the basic, the background that I'm sharing with you now, we will add to that Bodhicitta Sharadeva's chapter 8, the second half of chapter 8, to make it more polished with the help of the Bodhicitta Sharadeva's teachings. Okay, the 9 steps. The first one, equalizing self and others. Number 1, equalizing self and others. Number 2, reflecting on the demerits of cherishing oneself. Number 2, reflecting on the demerits of cherishing oneself. Number 3, reflecting on the merits of cherishing others. Reflecting on the merits of cherishing others. Number 4, taking the suffering of others with emphasis on compassion. Taking the suffering of others with emphasis on compassion. Number 5, giving a happiness to others with emphasis on loving kindness. Let me repeat it. Number 4, taking the suffering for others with emphasis on compassion. Number 5, giving a happiness to others with emphasis on loving kindness. And many of you are aware of what is known as a practice of Tonglen. Tonglen is a Tibetan word. Tong is to give, Len is to take. So number 4 and number 5 combined together constitutes the practice of Tonglen, giving and taking. Number 6, actual exchange of self and others. Actual exchange of self and others. Number 7, special recollection of the kindness of others. Number 7, special recollection of the kindness of others. Number 8, altruism. Number 9, Bodhicitta. These are 9 steps. Okay, let me repeat. First, equalizing self and others. Number 2, reflecting on the demerits of cherishing oneself. Reflecting on the demerits of cherishing oneself. Number 3, reflecting on the merits of cherishing others. Number 4, taking the suffering for others, with emphasis on compassion. Number 5, giving a happiness to others with emphasis on loving kindness. And number 4 and number 5 combined together is known as the practice of Tonglen, Lojong practice of Tonglen. Number 6, actual exchange of self and others. The actual exchange of self and others. Number 7, special recollection of the kindness of others. Special recollection of the kindness of others. Number 8, altruism. Number 9, Bodhicitta. Okay, so these are 9 steps. And the first thing that we need to do is try to remember these 9 steps. And some of us may have heard this so many times, but still they are not on your fingertips. Okay. So first let the flow there, and towards the end, for sure I will give say like 20 minutes question answer session. There's going to be session 4, question answers at the end. So first let me have the flow. Okay, so we need to know the 9 steps by heart on your fingertips, and then they know each of these points, and then know the links, how the first step should take us to the second to the third to the fourth, and so forth. And if you know these things, then you feel the joy in the practice. And the practice, while it has many aspects, Baruch says that it has 2 important aspects. One is known as the practice with the component of consistency. In other words, consistency in your practice, number 1. Number 2, the rigor. Consistency and the rigor. Say, some people, they focus too much on the rigor, and when you focus too much on the rigor initially, then the consistency will be broken so quickly. So I would highly suggest that to focus more on consistency rather than rigor initially. Initially focus on the consistency rather than rigor. So initially, I may as well say that you may not do both methods together. You can do one method at a time in a day, and then alternate the 2. And then later on, when you really see that, okay, whether I like it or not, this is a practice. So finally, that I should be happy, and that my happiness, I have the potential to experience infinite happiness. And I see that the happiness that I'm seeking at the moment, like the physical, say the factors. When you're cold, you go for the heating system. When you're hot, you go for the cooling system. When you're hungry, you go for the food, cheesecake, and so forth. When you feel lonely, you look for a companion, you go for a party, and so forth. And then what? And then when you're alone, you crave for company. When you're other people, you feel lack of privacy. Again, you crave to be alone. Yeah. So this is also temporary, and it's so fleeting. So fleeting. And okay, let me share my experience. And each one of us, whatever experience that you have related to what I'm sharing, something similar to what I'm sharing, we must bring them in our meditation. Say, I shared a little bit with you earlier. Say, when I was little, age 6, 7, at age 5, I lost my mother, this small boy. Lost mother at the age of 5, then age 6, 7 in school, boarding school. And my father was, materially very poor, humble, and he could not really afford to support the 3 children, me, my brother, my sister. And we were all in the school, like a charity school, TCD school, Tibetan Children's School there. And in winter break, sometimes we get the chance that my father may take us for like 10-day holiday with him. And so we had this very simple, humble 1 room, very small 1 room. There is a room, bedroom, living room, kitchen, everything is this small room. But for me, in this world, this is the best mansion. This tiny room is the best mansion in this world. And all gods, all Buddhas are combined together in my father. I see my father, that gives so much joy in me. If I get this, I don't have to go to any place, any beautiful place, whatever. Nothing. So this is the best thing for me. So then the first day, so every cell of my body relaxes to be with my father in the simple house. And just my father, being a very small boy, age 6, 7, he would just cuddle me in his arm. That is the best moment. And actually, it should be my mother. That is even better. But then I lost my mother. And that was the most beautiful moment. And then the 9th day, then the 10th day, then my mind started to just say, like, fall into total, be shattered and become so gloomy. And I can't really think of going back to school, leaving behind the father. So painful, so fleeting experience of this wonderful joy. It was so fleeting. It's very soon ended up with the sadness, acute gloominess, sadness. I'm sure everyone has your own experience of this fleeting, all these mundane happenings that we go through. They're all very fleeting. More intense a feeling, more fleeting it is. How many agree with me in a sense? More intense, more fleeting it is. Okay. Whereas there is this feeling which is extremely broad, extremely intense, extremely broad and lasting. That's compassion. Okay. So how is that? How is that? For that matter, say first our mind. To look at our mind, be very realistic, right? And somebody tells you that you're very selfish. You don't have to fight back. Just say that, yes, that's true. I'm selfish, right? Not only you, not only me. Even the person who said you are very selfish is a clear indication that person is also very selfish. Because unselfish person will never describe somebody as selfish. Very kind person. Unselfish meaning kind person. Kind person will never describe somebody as selfish. Right? So we acknowledge it. What's wrong with this? We have to begin from where we are. We are selfish, we begin from there. Lucky, the good thing is that we are being selfish, we're unhappy, that is also dependent originated. So it is like, let's say the example that I give is a stupa, let's say a stupa. Two stupas, that you have a stupa and your friend has a stupa. The stupa your friend has is a golden stupa, glowing golden stupa. And your stupa is so worn out stupa, right? But and then don't feel sad that my stupa is so worn out. Oh, his stupa is so beautiful, her stupa is so beautiful, glowing with gold. First thing that we need to acknowledge is that his or her stupa is also dependent originated. My stupa is also dependent originated. Dependent originated means that it does not exist independently. Exists but depends on many other factors like the bricks. If the stupa is made of 1,000 bricks, your stupa is worn out means the 1,000 bricks, which are not stupas in themselves, they're worn out, but depend on these 1,000 worn out the bricks, that the stupa coming out of that becomes worn out. Whereas in the case of your friends, the other person's stupa, the fact that it's made of 1,000 golden bricks, that the stupa becomes a golden. And then the golden means glowing. So know that both are dependent originated. So my stupa, one of stupa is also because of being dependent originated, dependent on these factors. If you don't want the one of stupa, if you want to change this one of stupa to a golden stupa, what should you do? You should change that. You should know that this is dependent originated and change the factors dependent upon which your stupa becomes a one of stupa. What are the factors? The bricks. So you remove one out brick and replace with a golden brick. Next, again, remove another one out brick and replace it with a golden brick. Eventually, that will also become a golden stupa. So, likewise, the fact that we are selfish, the fact that we are unhappy, the fact that we easily get stressed, mentally so agitated for no reason, the fact that we attract, say the people are so nice to other people, but the moment they come to meet with me, they become nasty, right? You attract the nasty people. So something that the factors that are within us. These are not your true natures. Your true nature is amazing. Your true nature, no matter what external factors, what kind of people you meet with, your mind will never feel agitated. No, your mind will never feel tired, exhausted, burnout. Will never feel that. Your mind will forever remain stress-free and expansive and total ease, full of wisdom and full of power. Okay, if that is the case, if this is your true nature, then I say but what I'm seeing now, at the moment, I'm so weak in the sense that I feel easily agitated, easily being affected. For example, say somebody with the very strong arms, you go to a crowd, the person hit you, but you're very strong, you will not be affected. But if you have broken arms with a plaster, you go there in the crowd, the person hits you like this, just a mere touch, even the touch can affect you, which means you're weak. So you just meet with a person and a person says something that how old are you? Say you are 40. A person, how old are you? Look like 41. You blast with anger, right? Or you are 60, and someone say, oh, you look like. By the way, when I was 40, there was a dentist who said that oh, I cannot work now, I cannot work as much as I used to when I was younger, and I'm now getting older. I'm old, and I do not ask his age. He, on his own, voluntarily, he told me that I'm 67 years old. He told me. Then I said, okay. Then he asked me, how old are you? Then I said, I'm 70 years old. I was 40, and I said, just imagine you are the person, right? You are me. Then I was 40. And he asked me, how old are you? I said, I'm 70. And he said, no, you are not 70. Then I said, guess my age. He said, no, you are not 70. Yes, I'm 70. He said, no, you are not 70. So he must be, he tried to sympathize with me. And actually, I was 40. And then I said, guess my age. He said, so he reduced 3 years from his age. He was 67, or he reduced 2 years. He said, you look like 65, right? Imagine you are the one. Imagine you are the one who is just 40 years old. Somebody said you look like 65. Then you will, for a whole 1 year, you will remain upset. You will keep thinking about that person and keep cursing this person all the time. You're getting it? This is who we are. We are so weak. We are so weak. Weak means that we're easily affected by, the other factors. We're easily affected. This is a weakness. What is that? If somebody tells you you are 40 years old and somebody tells you that you are 65 years old, also you are something, this nobody can take it, right? So if you are 40 and somebody, you look like 45, you're very unhappy, right? You are 40 and somebody tells you that you look like 35, you'll be very happy. Thank you, right? You're so happy. Thank you. Okay. This is how weak we are. What difference does it make to you? Say somebody tells you are 65, although you are just 40 years old. What's there? And somebody tells you that you are 40, and somebody says you are like 35, you are like 25. What's there? What's there to feel excited? What's there to feel so upset? What's there? It doesn't change you. You are who you are. But we feel affected. This is how weak we are. This is our vulnerability. So when you're affected, are you happy? You're not happy. Who's a happy person? Person who said that 40 and said you look like 65 and feel so upset the whole 1 year. You think of this person, you curse this person all the time. And on the other hand, somebody said you look like 65 while you are just like 40. Hey, that's cute. That's amazing, right? That's amazing. That person is going to be 65 while I'm 40. You just take it as a joke. Who's happier? So someone who takes it so lightly and takes a joke, that is a happier person. So what do you want? You want a happy person? You want the unhappy person? You want a happier person? If you wanted that, it'd be the second person, not the first one. What's the second one? Where you don't feel affected when somebody tells you that you are like 65 when you are 40. So all these lies in how you think. Your thinking makes you happy, unhappy. Physical stress is a different story. Mental stress is what we ourselves create. Physical stress, our body decides. Our body has a set limit. For example, the example that I give is that, generally speaking, we cannot work for more than like 8 hours. So we need like 8 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours sleep, and then 8 hours like break, and then 8 hours work. This is the ideal thing the body can, take. Whereas more than push the limit to like 10 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours, then the body cannot take. So your body will have stress. Even though your mind is extremely free, still your body is an ordinary body. It cannot take it more than like this number of hours. You will have physical stress. But mental stress is purely created by yourself. It's not about how many work that you do and so forth. The work that you do, and then your mind thinking is incomplete, thinking is erroneous, thinking is very narrow-scope. Then the physical stress then the mind combined together will give you so much mental stress, and physical stress can be even worsened. And many of the people, believe it or not, many people with illnesses. In fact, I know some of my friends with illnesses because of the mental, how should I describe it? Where the mind, there's so much anger, agitation. This actually worsens the physical health. You're getting it? Physical health. Even the recovery of your physical ailments greatly depends on your thinking. Your thinking positively can stop the ailments, make you recover so fast. Whereas with the wrong thinking, the disturbed thinking, can aggravate your illness, can even extend that the pace of your recovery. So these two are very closely connected, and from that point of view, this practice is so precious. So after acknowledging who you are, our vulnerabilities, then we have to walk from the air. Don't walk from the air, walk from where you are. Okay, so the first step is the equalizing self and others. So before we move to before we jump to the roof, you have to take the steps to the roof. Don't just jump there, you'll fall and you die. We have to take the steps. So there are 9 steps there to reach the roof of enlightenment, to reach the roof of the succession of your infinite compassion. So the first one is equalizing self and others. So before you say that you are more precious than me, I will invest everything for you. Before we go there to that extent, because our nature is to say I all the time. This is who we are. We always, for example, say, believe it or not, I say from whatever you earn, if not 100%, 99% is for your personal benefit, for yourself, right? But if you are a genuine Dharma practitioner, then you're using this for yourself, but actually that is for Dharma, for sentient beings. But otherwise, look at the people around you, CEO of the company, and so all these, so whatever. So you describe anybody, just from somebody who is the humble, the worker, laborer, to the highest level, CEO of the company, and so forth. All these people, generally speaking, we see that what they earn is like, if not 100%, 99% is for themselves. So this is who we are. So from there we have to start. And if you tell them that give everything to others, they will say, who are you? Right? What is this? This is Dharma. Then I don't need Dharma, right? So your Dharma and my thinking goes in the opposite direction. So therefore, we have to take the steps. You don't just go there directly. So the first thing is equalizing self and others. No need to say that others are more important than you. First, that we are all equal. Oh, that makes sense, right? That makes sense. Equality of self and others. So the first step is equalizing self and others. And to see how successful we are in this first is that just observe your own mind, how your mind naturally behaves. So this is so important. And then what is practice? Practice means simply think about this, and think about how our chronic way of thinking, seeing ourselves as more important than others, that are more important than others, how this is totally misleading, and how this has no ground, and how this can potentially create more problems to me, not necessarily for others, right? So we need to think more. The more we think, that transformation happens on your mental, in your mind. And this mind is the driving force for all our actions, physical, verbal, how you speak to somebody else, how physically you deal with other people. So these all are determined by your thinking. And if the thinking is very compassionate, even your talking, the utterance of the words, they are so gentle, tender. People can feel the tenderness. But when you speak, if the movement of the body is so subtle, it's so beautiful in the eyes of others. So these are all driven by your thinking. So this thinking, the more we think positively, then the more the mind transforms. It's like a physiotherapy. You just keep moving. For example, you have a arm problem, then the physiotherapist will make you to move it. First, you cannot move. The physiotherapist will try to help you by stretching it like this. And gradually, the physiotherapist will ask you to move. Because your movement and somebody else is moving your arms, these are very different. Your movement is 10 times more effective than somebody else moving your arms. Okay, so that is known as exercise. And gradually it'll become flexible. So likewise, our mind, we think more about how misleading this mind is, that I'm the selfish thinking, that I'm more important than others. How misleading. And how there's no ground, valid ground there. And how, effectively, how it attracts all your tension, stress, miseries. People who are more selfish, they are more unhappy. This is reality. Even small things can irritate. Nobody wants irritation. Nobody says that, okay, today you wake up early morning and you say, okay, I'm so excited today, I'm looking forward to my irritation. Nobody will look forward to irritation. But the more the selfish you are, given that the situation is same for two people, one who is more selfish can easily is more prone to irritation in comparison with somebody who is less selfish. This is reality. Okay, we think about this. The demerits. Finally, the principle is that we want happiness. We don't want suffering. This is the benchmark. This is the benchmark. This is the benchmark. With this, that being selfish, it actually attracts all the miseries to me. Okay. So the key is that with all these 9 steps, the basic engine behind that is to look for the demerits of cherishing oneself and look for the merits of cherishing others. This is a basic engine. The step number 2 and step number 3. These are the 2 basic engines. Then the remaining, if you're successful in that, if you're successful in this, then the remaining steps will flow naturally. But you have to follow the steps. Okay. Okay. First, equalizing self and others. So first to say that the reflection on demerits of cherishing oneself, right? Okay, so I'm not allowed to cherish myself. Then if you move directly there, you cannot accept it. Your mind is not ready to accept it. So first step is that we are all equal, rather than saying that don't cherish yourself. Instead of that, we're all equal. It's not that you are more important than others. Okay. How many of you at times or even today, generally speaking, how many of you have the tendency that your mind works in a such way that I am more important than others? Raise hands. Let's be very honest, right? And no, we're all equal, right? We're all equal. No, if this is your response, I want to put you to the second test. Second test is that when you're in the aeroplane, and then your flight, the lands, right? Lands, and you look around, everybody is alert. Alert what? To get up. And then somebody gets up, then air hostess says, everybody please sit down, sit down. And then the bell rings, ding, which means that now people can get up. You say, everybody's getting up, right? And then you say, something is with me. If you must be also reacting like this. You also, there's something which makes you to get up. You also have to get up, right? It will take another 4, 5, 6 minutes for this line to move, right? You get up. And if you don't get up, still there's something inside that, okay, I'm being left behind, right? So I also get up. Okay, how many felt that? Be very honest, raise hands. Right? And if somebody goes before you, you're upset, right? You're a little upset. That person moves before you, and that if there's no reason, if the other person, for reasons of small babies to be taken care of, or sick person to help somebody else, that's a different story. Otherwise, somebody who's like you just rush before you, you're a little upset. You're getting it? Okay, so. And it's very strange. Just observe your own mind and look at other people also. They're also in rush. And finally, where the person who get there first and the person who got off last, both will meet and the baggage claim. Both will meet there. Not that you reach your house first. Again, you meet the same baggage claim. Right? I don't know. What is the psychology of that? I don't understand it. Right? But this is a sheer demonstration of the selfish thinking, selfishness. It is there within us, right? And then if you pass this, oh no, I don't really feel it like this. Yes, I saw people standing up, rushing, but I'm calm, cool. I said, and then I feel that most of them are gone. Then I also get up, go. This is, if even if I'm last, it doesn't matter. If this is who you are, you're passed. Now the next step, still the next test. That say you with 100 people, you are without food for, let's say, 1 week. No water, no food. 1 week, remaining hungry. No food. You feel extremely hungry. Everyone is feeling so hungry. And somebody comes. Okay, I have a small, what is that, cookie? One piece of cookie. Who likes to have it? What is your response? Oh, everybody's hungry. Please share with everyone. Or, I will have it. I will have it. I will have it. And say most likely, I would say minimum 80-90% of the people say, I will have it, I'll have it, I'll have it. And if you don't have this experience, oh, by the way, how many of you had the experience of hunger, the pain of hunger at one point in life? Raise hands. Pain of hunger at one point in life, right? So maybe everything is so with great facilities, everything is there for you, but you are on adventure, right? Many people actually they suffer poverty, but in your case, if you do not really go through poverty, but for adventure, you went there, and suddenly it so happened that there's no preparation for the food, and you and your group, everybody had to remain hungry, empty stomach, and no water like this for at least like 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. Yeah, we must have, these. Sometimes your car gets stuck somewhere. These things can happen. So when this happens, particularly when the hunger is so acutely painful, and somebody says, I've only one piece of cookie, and who's like to have it? And then most likely you will say that I'll have it. And the next question, why you? What's the answer? Only answer that you can put forth is that I'm hungry. I'm so badly hungry. And others are also equally badly hungry. Yes. Now who's going to have it? I'm going to have it. Why you? Right? Why you? If you pass this test where you are in the grip of acute pain of hunger, and still you say that we're all equal, you can give it to anybody, right? If you can say this wholeheartedly, you have passed the first step. You have passed the first step. Who can do that? Generally speaking, the mothers can do that for the children. The mother would be more than happy to remain hungry herself and give the food, whatever she has, for the child. The mother can do that. This is how the mothers pass the test with respect to related to the child. Now we are supposed to pass the test with respect to all the sentient beings, not only your child. Okay. So these are things that we need to think of. And then in a real life, say for example, aeroplane incident, or when there's some earthquake, you rush, and then you push everybody else away from you. You run first, or you go. So there, just be vigilant of your own mind. Okay, now look, how does my mind behave? My mind behave that I am more important than others. This is known as the gross selfishness, gross self-centered attitude. I am more important than others. Those self-centered attitude, there are two kinds. One is gross and one is subtle one. So we have the gross self-centered attitude. Those who have the gross self-centered attitude, we also have the subtle one. Whereas arhats, they don't have the gross self-centered attitude, but they have the subtle self-centered attitude. Okay, is there anybody who can make the distinction between these two? The gross self-centered attitude and the subtle self-centered attitude. Anyone who can make distinction? Please raise hands. Okay, the Kamatundula, Yakila.
All right, I will try. I'd say that the one that arhats have is not the one in which they think that their happiness is more important than the happiness of others, but still, it's the one that prevents them from developing great compassion to everyone, wanting to attain enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. So it's not seeing oneself as important, but still not wanting to attain the state of Buddhahood for the sake of everyone.
No, what is that attitude like?
Its attitude is like, well, so long as I'm free from suffering, it's okay.
No, so what's wrong with this?
Well,
okay, anyone else? Okay, David La.
It's being oblivious to the suffering of others, I guess.
Okay. So David La is saying that we're, say in a way, first let me say what the David La said, that you cherish the self, I'm important, and being oblivious to others' suffering, being oblivious to the others' welfare, that I'm important, right? Are you important? Yes, everyone is important. Don't say that I'm not important. Never say that I'm not important. You are very important. You can become Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. If somebody who can become Buddha is not important, who is important then? You have the capacity to become Buddha. You are so important. But if I say, who's important? I'm important. Who's important? I'm important. You always say like this. There's something wrong there. that just as you are important, others also important. You are not talking about others' importance. You're getting it? I'm important, I'm important, I'm important. This is so important for us to make this distinction between the two, the gross selfishness and this subtle selfishness. Okay. Gross selfishness is cognitively erroneous. Let me repeat it. Gross selfishness is cognitively erroneous in ways that it thinks that I am more important than others. And there's no basis there. By no means I am more important than others. This is cognitively wrong. So, in other words, gross selfishness is cognitively erroneous. What is a subtle selfishness? Subtle selfishness is not cognitively erroneous. It is cognitively valid. But there's some problem there. What's the problem? Let's say that we all go to enjoy a beautiful garden. Shahala, please tell me one beautiful garden in the Tel Aviv. Or any beautiful garden in?
Oh, so the Baha'i temple in Haifa.
Yes. Where the Bab's tomb, right? In the Bab's tomb. Okay. Beautiful. Yes. Yes, I was there with the okay, Shala, you remember with whom I went?
I'm not sure, maybe Tammy, when you were
Yes.
In the north.
Tammy,
tour.
Yes, Tamila and Ramila. Tamila and Ramila. Yes, I went with them. And there's one gentleman who was a lawyer, I think, who was like the tour guide, who helped us explain. Okay, so there was a beautiful, beautiful garden. So we went there for to enjoy this garden, the Baha'i temple garden there. And it so happened that we come there in the midnight, and there was a total power cut, right? And you have a small, tiny torch. With a tiny torch, you can enjoy the individual flowers. You cannot enjoy the garden. You're getting it? So tiny torch said the light. And the light symbolizes the wisdom. It has the knowledge. But the knowledge is very narrow. It only lights one flower. It doesn't light the whole garden. You came here not to enjoy a flower. You came here to enjoy the whole garden, the flowers, not a flower. You're getting it? So this, they say, the subtle selfishness, there's nothing wrong cognitively, but effectively is very narrow in thinking, but just one flower rather than the whole garden. So the subtle selfishness, as David said, is that which cherishes the self, which views the self as important by being oblivious to others. This is a word, but not, okay, there's a difference there. Being indifferent towards others, but being oblivious to others. These two are different. Indifferent is a very strong word. It is an element of some degree of aversion, indifferent, just neglecting, ignoring. It does not ignore, but it's simply oblivious. It's like unaware. So the subtle self-centered attitude is cognitively not erroneous, but the problem with it is that it's very narrow in the scope of thinking. It feels the preciousness or the importance of the self, which is correct. You are important, but others are equally important. While others are equally important as you are, you feel that I'm important and being oblivious to others. That's the problem. Okay, that is a subtle self-centered attitude. So with this in mind, the first step says that equalizing self and others, that I and you, I and others, we're all equal. Equal in what way? Equal in what way? Number one, that the reason why I'm struggling, people struggle to get a job, people struggle to they start a startup, and so forth. People struggle to get to the hospitals with their illness and so forth. For what? Not wanting suffering and wanting happiness. And yet this reality is equal to all the beings. We're all equal. We're all equal. We're all equal in ways of sharing this sentiment. I want happiness. I don't want suffering. We're all equal in wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. This is point number one. Point number two, that we're all equal in being very important. That we all have the Buddha nature. Whether you are Buddhist or not Buddhist, whether you're male, female, third gender, whether you're from this religion, that religion, this ethnicity, that ethnicity, we are all equal in having the perfect potential. We're all equal. Not that someone is more important than others. We're all equally important because we have the same perfect potential for the perfect the qualities. For example, in the past, like say 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, a child referred to as the son of the king is considered as very important. The son, just like age 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, does not know anything. And the minister, who is so wise, even this minister has to respect this little boy. Why? Because this boy is considered as very important. Why important? Because he is going to become the king of the country, king of the kingdom, king of the empire. So he is very important. And each one of us, who is more important, king or the Buddha? Buddha is more important. Everyone has the potential to become a Buddha, which is more important than a king. So everybody is equal in that respect. Everybody is equally important, and they're equal in that respect, having the seed of perfection within. Okay, so these are two main reasons. And I say it's funny that some people, what they say is that they practice the Dharma, and they practice the Dharma step by step, meaning that till I succeed in the first practice, I'll not move to the second practice. This is not a wise approach. Generally speaking, this is not a wise approach. So what can be done is that we do step by step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In one go, you can do the 9 steps in one go. But don't wait till you succeed in the first one. Till I succeed in the first one, then I will not start the second one. Don't do like this. So even if you don't succeed the first one, think about it. A little bit of transformation takes place. Thinking. You think about the benefit of this. It is like meeting with the people. For example, say Benla. Benla, before he was in the DFI, we met, and then I suggested DFI, and he had no clue. And I suggested Shahala. He had no clue. Now Shahala is the closest friend. Yes, Shahala. I said that Shahala is extremely the amazing person, extremely kind person, and you must meet him. And he is at the moment heading the DFI, and you must meet the people of the DFI. This is so important. And then the first meeting was more formal. Second meeting, third meeting, fourth meeting. Now he became a part of DFI. You're getting it? This is how the mind works. So you think about the first step. You may not succeed. It doesn't matter. You think about it, some degree of success happened. Second thinking, third, fourth, then your mind becomes deeper into this, and the experience becomes deeper. So then it's funny that as you go step 1, 2, 3, with the step 1, you can go to step 2 easily. With the success of step 2, step 1 becomes improved. That's amazing. Even the step 1 is extremely powerful. When you succeed in the later steps, then going back to the first step, you see even the first step is so powerful a practice. Okay, so once you are able to succeed, meaning that you are able to do the following steps, coming back to the first step, even to think of this, that we are all equal in having the Buddha nature, seed of perfection, all of us. Even that will just get rid of your anger, agitation, so forth, greatly. How? say when there's a difficult person there, you just imagine instead of difficult person, if it is your mother, it is your husband, wife, children, people who really takes care of you. If that's the case, then what is my mental? My mind will just flow in affection. So likewise, this person who is nasty, who is seen as nasty today, if with this person, why nasty? Because of their bad qualities. These bad qualities are not the true nature. Behind the bad qualities, there's a true nature which is so beautiful, so pure. Where this true nature manifests, the person's mind will embrace you with total affection. So you just see that person from the light of this true nature. You say, wow, this person will embrace me. Right? Just think of this, and then you feel because this person, the true nature is not manifested because of the superficial anger, agitation, that is what is making that person unhappy. This is not the true nature of that person. Remove these adventitious stains, adventitious qualities, adventitious attributes of the person, the anger, agitation, so forth. Remove this, let the true nature manifest, the person will embrace you with total affection. Just think of that, is so powerful. Instantly, it will give you relief. And then, because of this, yet the true nature is not manifested, because of which the person is suffering. You feel compassionate. It is like you see a mother seeing the child, with so much of beautiful qualities there, but sending the child the first day to school, and the school children, the school teachers, they do not know the child well, and the child behaves a little strange, and they may punish the child, or they may not be too happy with the child, and the child feels so sad. The mother will just wish that the true quality of this child be manifested in front of all the school there. Then the child will be so happy, everybody will be happy with the child. Instead of anger, the mother will feel particularly compassionate towards the child, that the true nature of the child does not manifest yet. So this feeling comes to you. You see that the number one is amazing. We are so weak. In what are we weak? We see different people, you feel agitated. You feel a kind person, your mind feels relaxed. Now you see the same difficult person, the other side of the difficulty, which is the true nature of the Buddha nature. You think of that person in that light. Wow, this person will embrace me. The manner in which my mother embraces the child. This is how this person will embrace. And why not this person embracing me now? Is because that true nature is obscured by some defilements. So because of which the person is suffering. Then you feel compassionate. That's amazing. Amazing. So beautiful practice. Okay. So this says what we need to reflect on. Step 1. Then step 2 is reflecting on the demerits of cherishing oneself. And step 3, reflecting on the merits of cherishing others. The point is that finding what we want. Okay, let me give an example of, we become defensive when somebody is there to criticize, accuse you. We become defensive. And we also criticize, accuse others. Why we are doing that? To defend ourselves and to promote ourselves. So why do we do that? Why do we defend ourselves? Why do we promote ourselves? So that I'll be happier? Okay. One time I was with a very senior professor. With a very senior professor and his wife. And no one asked me who that is. Very senior professor and his wife. And the professor, we know each other so well. And I always stayed in their house for, I think, about like 3 days before. And then we met for a conference. And he invited me to his house to stay with him for 5 days. And I said, no, I already booked a room. In a hotel. And he said, no, just let it go. You come to my place. I did not ask for help. And he is requesting me, please come to my place. I was confused. And he's so respected senior professor. And I just said, no, no, no. And finally, he was insisting. Then I finally gave up. I said, okay, I'll come. Then when we started the car, I asked him, okay, now you have to inform your wife that I'm coming with you. He said that, okay, that we will let her know as we go closer to it, reach closer to the house. And we reached closer to the house. No, first in the middle of the road, I asked him to call her. She said, no, that is call her when we reach closer. And then we reached there. I said, call her. And she called. And he called her. And then she said, okay. And then we reached the house. And they, as a protocol meaning, that I'm a guest. So he should take me there inside. And he is pushing me in the front. And the wife was sitting at the gate like this, with the two hands behind, like this. And he was pushing me in front of him. And I was confused. What's going on? I was confused. Then as a respect for him, as I went there, I sensed that, it's not that out of respect that he's sending me before, there's some other reason. So I went there and I greeted the lady, the wife. Good evening. This is not her style. Her style is very different today. With her two hands behind, I said, good evening. And she said, good evening, Dorji. This is how she responded. It was quite funny, quite strange. And then he came behind me, right? And we got in. And then I addressed him. Of course, he's a very senior, respectable professor. I addressed him with the label to indicate respect. Suddenly, the wife blasted, Dorji, he does not deserve this respect. What happened? What happened? So he did not call me out of a sense of friendship. It's just to defend him, right? It's to defend him. So if I'm there, then he will not be blasted too much. Be blasted maybe like 20%, not 100%. Suddenly, this lady blasted. Oh, then I realized, okay, now I know the reason, right? Okay. So then after a while, then he misplaced his wallet. Then he was asking the wife, where's my wallet? And she said that, no, I don't know where your wallet is. It's your wallet. You should know where it is. And then he said that, no, it is not the way I kept it. You must have taken it somewhere else. And two of them, again, the fight going on. And then the one is saying that, you did it, right? You did it, and you listen to me. And I said, no, you have to listen to me, right? So both want other person to listen to him or herself, right? When will the other person listen to you? Listen to me. The person will never listen to you, right? So the anger is coming up. And the whole purpose of this anger is to make the other person listen to you. So the other person will follow what you want, what you want. But that very anger makes the other person not listen to you. So, demerit of cherishing oneself. Cherishing oneself wants to make yourself happier. But you are dependent on others. We are social animals. And then with this selfishness, more selfish you are, more agitated, more irritable, more angry you are. With this anger, you will shout at the other person, listen to me. The person who will listen to you when you are angry? Nobody will listen to you. So the purpose is defeated. While you expect a person to listen to you, nobody is listening to you because you're angry, because of the selfishness. So this selfishness is actually destroying you, harming you, rather than helping you. Whereas you talk gently, you understand the other person. You talk gently to the other person will listen to you. If the other person at all listen to you, but the person will listen to you when you're more gentle, not when you're angry. So the selfishness make you to manifest into anger, and this anger makes others not to listen to you, and the anger makes you become more vulnerable, become more agitated, because you want other person to listen to you, but this very anger destroys other person from listening to you. So therefore, we see that there are so many demerits of this anger. And then, we have to think of these. Think of this. So there's a wise saying which says that don't make promises when you're happy. Don't take decisions when you are angry, right? When you're happy, oh yes, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll give you this, I'll do this, I'll do this. And then in the end, you cannot do anything. Whereas, and then when you're angry, you take decisions which can be very destructive. You will regret it in the end. So, Bodhisattva, the Acharya Chandrakirti, the third chapter of his text, Madhyama Avatar, he talked about the benefit of practice of patience, demerits of anger. So anger will steal your sanity. Let's not forget it. Anger steals your sanity, meaning that when you're angry, the decisions that you are taking can be very extreme. Later on to regret. So think about these demerits. Think about these demerits, and we see that the selfishness has so much demerits, and it really destroys us. So this is what we need to think of. And the other cherishing. Think of the merits of other cherishing. Point number 3. Think of the merits of the other cherishing. So by being compassionate, by being loving, this is amazing. Say the Buddha himself in the text, in the sutra, the Samdhi Nirmochana Sutra, where the Buddha taught that bodhisattvas may not practice many things. If they practice one thing, all the good qualities will be attracted in the palm of their hands. And the Buddha rhetorically asked, what is that one good quality? What is that one practice? Buddha himself responded, great compassion. Where there's great compassion, all the good qualities will come to us. Okay, it's not a story. It's not the folk tales. Just look at the mothers. Mothers, when they were when they were in school, some of them may be doing so bad in science and mathematics. But for the small child, the child has to learn science and mathematics, and the mother has to teach. Mother could not teach, so the mother learns herself. Mother was reluctant to learn it when she has to learn it. But for the child, she doesn't have to learn, but for the child, she is learning it herself. So in the process, she benefits. She learns these qualities, good qualities, out of love for the child, that she learns good qualities. So good qualities the good qualities are attracted. It's amazing. So so look at all these wonderful people. For example, like today we have His Holiness the Dalai Lama. We have Mother Teresa. In India, we had the Mahatma Gandhi, right? So we think about all these great people like Jesus Christ, like Buddha, Lord Mahavir, and listening to Bob, the Bahula's, the one who made the prophecy of the Bahula's appearance, the Bob, is amazing. And Bahula himself. Think of these great teachers. We see that what we like, they're all attracted by the quality of the compassion. The more you're able to expand this quality of compassion towards others, the more the good qualities, that the benefit you attract. So from this, we see that, they think of the merits of cherishing others. This is amazing. In fact, the people, I don't know here how many of you are so keen on, your Facebook, Instagram, where you are seeking the likes, number of the likes, right? Particularly the younger ones, when they see their friends, they get the likes like 1,000, 10,000, 20,000, and you have only like 2 people. There's your mother and the father, right? You feel very sad, which means we crave for people to like you. If you really want people to like you, practice compassion, right? It's amazing. You think about, say, the practice of compassion. Yes. In fact, yes. And then talking about the law of karma. All our problems, they're related to our negative karmas. And negative karmas, at the core of the negative karmas, is twofold. Self-grasping ignorance supported by selfishness. Self-grasping ignorance, when supported by selfishness, will make you accumulate negative karmas. Self-grasping ignorance alone, without the selfishness, it will never manifest the negative karmas. Don't forget it. Self-grasping ignorance without supported by self-centered attitude, it will only give rise to neutral karmas, not the negative karmas. Neutral. Self-grasping ignorance per se is a neutral state. It is not a negative karma. It is afflictive. It is affliction. It is not negative karma. It is not negative. It is not non-virtuous. It is neutral, but it is afflictive. It's affliction. It is not non-virtuous. You're getting it? So there's a distinction between what is affliction and what is non-virtuous. For example, all the afflictions of the form realm and the formless realm, they're all neutral. They are not non-virtuous karma. They're not non-virtuous. Non-virtuous means whose results will be experienced in the form of suffering. Non-virtuous means whose ripening results will be only in the form of suffering. And suffering is what you find only in the desire realm, not in the formless realm. So all the afflictions of the formless realm, they are neutral. They are not virtuous. They are not non-virtuous, but they are afflictive. They are afflictions, but they are not non-virtuous. Likewise, self-grasping ignorance. But say, even in desire realm, self-grasping ignorance, it is neutral. It is not non-virtuous. It is neutral. Only when supplemented by the gross self-centered attitude, then it will make it manifest into I am more important. And then the attachment, anger, jealousy related to the feeling that I'm more important, related to the desire realm, it all becomes non-virtuous, and then the karmas manifest out of that becomes non-virtuous. Okay. Or in other words, in short, all our miseries which we go through, final point to be blamed at is a self-centered attitude. So think more in this line. For example, you look in the forest. In the forest. Literally, every animal in the forest, in the wilderness, they have to live in fear that somebody is going to eat them up. And you may think that, then what about the strongest lion? The strongest lion, or the strongest elephant, strongest tiger, right? There's no strongest. Even what we think is the strongest lion, even he has to go in group, in herd. If goes alone, the hyenas, in 20, hundreds, they will eat you up instantly. Even they have to live in fear. And even what we call the strongest lion, tiger, and so forth, one day they will become old, even if they succeed in being in a herd, that nobody can eat them at that point. One day they'll become old, they cannot walk. Where they cannot walk, the other herds will not wait for you. They also have to live in fear. They will leave you. Then somebody is going to eat you up. This is how the sentient beings live in the wilderness. In the ocean, again, everyone is eaten by somebody else, is the reality. These are the kind of the suffering the animals are going through. And we, anytime, we can take birth there, anytime, right? Just think of in the wilderness and nobody is at peace. These are the problems. So what is attributed What is responsible for these miseries? Self-centered attitude. Think about this. Unless and until we put an end to a self-centered attitude, and then the other side, self-grasping ignorance and self-centered, unless we put an end to these two, then invariably it's a matter of time. Sometimes we take birth as human beings, sometimes we take birth as celestial beings, and the god and goddesses, hell beings, hungry ghost beings, animals, human beings. It's just like being in the soup, you know, being in the soup where we don't know where we end up. Is very scary, and all the blame goes to the self-centered attitude. And so therefore, if at all we should be feeling angry towards somebody, we should be feeling angry towards a self-centered attitude, not towards other people. And this self-centered attitude makes us to behave in all these negative thoughts, the gross afflictions, which in turn will make us to engage in negative karmas, which in turn will make us to suffer through sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, anguish, distress. All these things are because manifestation of this self-centered attitude. We think more about these. Naturally, slowly, but steadily, we will stay away from selfishness. The moment we think of selfishness coming in our mind, instantly we feel a little unhappy or uneasy, something's wrong, then you stay back and go away from this selfishness. These are the benefits. We have to think more. If you don't think about this, yeah, that's very true. Just think of this once, and then I know this. And if you don't go beyond this, it's like, say, you are suffering from tuberculosis, and there is the medicine there. Yeah, I know the medicine for tuberculosis, isoniazid, rifampicin, ethambutol. These are the medicines. I know that these are medicines. I know that you take the first dose and then finish. Your problem will never be over. So if you want your problem to be over, you have to take the same medicines over and over and over again. So likewise, if you really want to get away from all these miseries, we have to say no to the root of the problem, self-centered attitude. Ye dharma hetu prabhava. All these phenomena arise from the causes. Hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat. What are the causes is taught by the Tathagata. Tesham chayo nirodha. How to bring an end to these causes is also taught by the great seer. So how to bring an end to these is bringing an end to the cause of the suffering. What is the cause of suffering? Ultimately, it's a self-centered attitude and self-grasping ignorance. So you get rid of one of these two. Self-centered attitude is gone. All the manifest sufferings will stop. Self-grasping ignorance, stop it. All the manifest sufferings will stop. So the point is that we have to get rid of these two things. So the more we think of this, more the more intense the feeling will become. It becomes like your second nature. Anytime the selfishness manifests, you will feel aversion to this. You will not feel averse to the people. You will feel averse to this negative thought, which is actually the cause of your own destruction. Okay, so these are the 2 points that we need to reflect on more, and then particularly talking about the karmic cause and effect. We see that all our problems, like the poverty, like the ill health, like the bad environment, like say the lack of the mental intelligence, and so forth, all these limitations that we face with or that we experience, these are the results of the negative karmas, respective negative karmas, which in turn are rooted to the self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. So the more we think of these in your practice, by knowing these things, okay, look at this person is very selfish, so this person will suffer in the future. Or look at this lady, so she's very selfish, so these knowledge should not be used to judge on others. These knowledge should be used to judge on yourself and fix yourself. Finally, we are into Dharma, not to fix the Dharma. We are into Dharma, expecting Dharma to fix us. So we are expected to use these to judge ourselves, not to judge others. You're getting it? At times, the medicines can become poison. At times, medicines can become poison. So these teachings are meant to subdue your self-centered attitude. And if we don't use it properly, then these may become factor to increase your selfishness, increase your ego. Oh, look at this person, very selfish. Look at that person, selfish. Actually, your ego is constantly arising. So make sure that medicine remains a medicine, not as a poison. For that matter, let us use these teachings to judge on ourselves and to fix ourselves, not to judge on others and the being contemptuous of others. Let's not be that. Okay. So the time up. We'll stop here. So in fact, I'd like to enter in some questions, but today we'll do the questions tomorrow. Or the Shala, Benla, David La.
Yes,
do we take 1 or
Geshe,
2 questions now?
I think it will be better if we leave it for tomorrow because we're already 20 minutes past our times, and we'll have also a short question and answer in Hebrew with Venerable Kartzonla. So perhaps we'll leave it for tomorrow. Okay?
Okay. Okay. So we will keep it here. Then we'll do the end direction prayer. David, last screen sharing.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let us dedicate marriage that's gathered. That His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth, that he lives long and that his wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. Particularly the vision of the universal ethics today embodied in the form of C learning, social, emotional, ethical learning. Let us pray that it just spreads everywhere in the nook and corner, the nook and corner of the world, in all the institutions, universities, colleges, institutions, so forth, and eventually be adopted by the UNO, that whole world applies this, and they educate the youngsters in a very different spirit, a spirit of dialogue, spirit of compassion, spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood, so that the world is going to be a very different world. The world is going to be not just a peace in talk, but peace in action. So let's pray that it happens. And also let us pray that the teaching of compassion, universal compassion, grounded on the rationality, let it spread far and wide, everywhere, in the minds of all the demon sentient beings. May all the wars, all the problems stop, and may the world see a bright light of harmony, peace, and compassion. So with this mind, let's say the verses together. In a land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Chenrese Tenzin Gyatso, please remain on samsara ends. Just as a brave Manjushri and Samantabhata too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these matters in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appear in 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. Chanjo semjo remboche ma ge panam ge gyuroje ge ba nyamba me ba ya kone kondo pe barai sho. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that is not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase forevermore. By the dependent realization of the profound suchness, appearance, and emptiness, together with the force of great compassion of the 3 jewels and the power of truth, and the virtue of the infallible law of karmas and their fruits, may this truthful prayer of ours be unhindered and quickly fulfilled. By the teachings of this beneficent one till world's end, be unshaken by the winds of evil thoughts. May it always be met by innumerable beings who find conviction in the teacher by understanding the teaching's true nature. May it never falter, even for an instant, to uphold the excellent way of the sage, which illuminates the principle of dependent origination through all my births, even giving away my body and life. May I spend day and night carefully reflecting by what means can I enhance this teaching achieved by the Supreme Savior through restoring his efforts over countless eons. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent origination in particular, even in the course of my life. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, may could attain the state of Vajratara. Deyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Tyatha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha Tyatha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swaha.
Thank you so much, Geshe. We'll see you tomorrow. Everybody, thank you for your presence. We'll see you tomorrow, 9 o'clock Israel time and 11:30. For the Hebrew speakers, we'll have the question and answers in Hebrew with Venerable Carlson at 2:15. At the same Zoom meeting, you are welcome just to stay tuned. See you all tomorrow. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.